For 35 years, I've been treating clients with chronic fatigue and brain fog. Today, we'll be discussing two very powerful nutrients, phosphatidylserine and SAMe. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this, and be sure to hit the alert button to be notified of new videos each week. So the first is SAMe. And SAMe is a type of methionine, which is an amino acid. It's sometimes called adenomethionine, but I just like to call it SAMe. And SAMe plays a role in many metabolic processes in the body. My understanding that it was discovered in the 1950s or 60s in the United States, but it's developed to be a licensed pharmaceutical drug in Europe, in certain countries in Europe. Although it's a nutritional supplement, it's made out of an amino acid, so it's not really a drug. It's far safer than other pharmaceutical drugs. So let's look at what is SAMe. It's a compound that's found naturally in the body. SAMe helps produce and regulate hormones and maintain cell membranes. And basically, it's available both as a dietary supplement in the United States, and in some countries in Europe, it's a prescription drug. Just so you know, it can be taken orally as well as IV. And we're mostly going to be talking about the oral applications because it's going to be very hard, especially in the United States, to get IV SAMe. So, what does the research say? So, the research says that SAMe is a very powerful antidepressant. Matter of fact, I first started hearing about it in, I believe it was in the 1990s. And Richard Brown, who's a Harvard psychiatrist, actually, he's a Columbia psychiatrist, wrote a book about SAMe. And he basically said that SAMe works quicker and with fewer side effects than all other antidepressants. So Dr. Brown, Richard Brown, was very favorably disposed to SAMe, and I believe he's used it with many of his patients, as have I. So one of the important takeaways is if you do have major depression or a family member that has major depression, they really should be under the care of a mental health professional. Now, if you just feel a little bit blue, well, in that case, SAMe might be very appropriate. The next indication that SAMe seems to be very effective for is liver disease. And I've had the opportunity to use SAMe with some clients that have hepatitis C as well as Gilbert's disease, which is a pretty rare liver disease. And it seems to be very, very effective. Although sometimes people with liver disease need to take a higher dosage than those with depression or pain. Now, the research suggests, particularly the research in Germany, suggests that SAMe is effective in osteoarthritis. And I, Andrew, have used it with clients for all sorts of pain syndromes, whether it's long COVID, chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, and as well as pain associated with autoimmune disease. So for osteoarthritis and pain, I do think SAMe is one of the very best nutritional supplements. And then, final benefit of SAMe is that it generates glutathione and it's neuroprotective. So in the end, we'll talk about when would you want to use SAMe and when you might want to use PS or phosphatidylserine. Okay, so let's look again. Let's just review some of the benefits of SAMe before we move on to the next topic. So basically, SAMe helps people with depression, cirrhosis of the liver, chronic viral hepatitis, and that's why I've used it in hepatitis C, jaundice, Gilbert syndrome, fibromyalgia, nerve problems related to AIDS, and also gallbladder problems. Now, the next nutrient we're going to talk about is phosphatidylserine, sometimes pronounced phosphatidylserine, and it's abbreviated as PS. So, what exactly is PS? So, I didn't know this, but it turns out that PS is found in every one of your cells. My cells, your cells. PS, phosphatidylserine. So it has many vital functions in the body, but it's mainly thought of be used for the brain. And so what is phosphatidylserine? Basically, it contains amino acids and fatty acids. And it's thought that omega-3 fatty acids work synergistically with PS. And there's some products that contain EPA, DHA. These are healthy fats from fish. And they're combining it with PS. And these may be really good formulas for depression and also may be very useful for people with cognitive brain fog and cognitive decline. And so research shows that PS is useful for bone matrix formation, cell repair, heartbeat coordination, hormone secretion, and testicular function. So I have to admit, I've never used PS for testicular function. And I have heard it, some of my colleagues actually recommend PS for as many clients as possible that have stress and want to try it. You know, stress really hurts the adrenal glands, and it's thought that PS is one of the things that helps build up the adrenal gland function. So what kind of conditions is PS useful for? Well, it may improve Alzheimer's disease symptoms. And the research, it doesn't show that it's going to cure Alzheimer's disease. But I think the research tends to show that maybe if somebody has mild Alzheimer's disease, it can slow down the progression. PS is better in more simple age-related cognitive dysfunction. There was a study with 494 elderly patients, and that's a pretty large trial, particularly for a nutritional supplement. And the researchers found that PS produced statistically significant improvement in behavior and cognitive parameters after 3 months and after 6 months. So, one of the take home messages here is that PS and SAMe are not things you take and then you feel better instantly and you're all of a sudden cured. These are things that you take over a period of time. In general, I wouldn't recommend SAMe for any less than a month. And particularly if you have long-standing depression or sadness, I would recommend it for at least 6 months. And then in this case, they're talking about PS for people with cognitive decline, age-related cognitive decline. They're using it for 3 and 6 months. So they did another study that was published in the Journal of Clinical Biochemistry and Nutrition. And after 6 months, this is with 78 patients, people with relatively low memory scores at the beginning of the study demonstrated improvement in memory while the scores in the placebo or sugar pill group were unchanged. So this indicates that PS can be very, very useful for brain fog and age-related memory decline. Now, I believe I have brain fog and memory decline due to chronic fatigue syndrome, and I actually find use a relatively larger dosage of PS, but I will notice results right away. So it gives you some, I want to give you some inspiration that it may take 3 months to see results, but if you're very sensitive to nutrients and herbs, as I am, you may see results right away. Now, it turns out, like SAMe, PS is also used for depression. The difference is that there are many, many studies using SAMe and depression, and only maybe a few studies showing PS and depression. So if you're mainly thinking of somebody's depressed and has depressed or depressed and chronic pain, the main thing I would suggest is the SAMe. Some studies have shown that PS can help people with Parkinson's disease, and then it also improves child ADHD as well as adult ADHD. So it's only been about 10 years when I found out that adults have ADHD. And I wondered, wow, I had learning disabilities as a kid. Sometimes it feels like I don't have very good attention. So I took a test and, it showed basically my brain gets stressed. And when I'm tired, it doesn't perform very well. but I didn't have ADHD. And as a matter of fact, I believe that through cutting out food allergens, by increasing my protein intake, and by taking herbs and supplements, I believe I'm smarter than I was at 20. That's pretty good, huh? Well, I think that it's partly because of these herbs and lifestyle and diet also work. So, let's see, what do we wanna know about this? So what we wanna do is use PS. What it does is improves the brain activity through the neurotransmitters. And so it's thought that that's how ADHD, suffers. You have focus problems and they have impulse control problems, like they want to look out the window instead of studying, a scientific text. And then the other problem with brain fog is you become easily brain fogged. You start reading and you go, I got a headache. I got to do something else. And I've had that happen myself, particularly as the day progresses. So the bottom line is that we can use uh, PS for ADHD, whether it's children or adults. And one study involved 36 children, and they were 4 to 14 years of age, and they previously received a drug treatment for ADHD, and so they either took a placebo or 200 milligrams of PS each day for 2 months. And what the researchers found that supplementing with PS significantly improved ADHD symptoms as well as short-term auditory memory. And they concluded that PS may be a safe and natural nutritional strategy for improving mental performance in young children suffering from ADHD. So if you do have ADHD, or an adult or child, I would certainly recommend PS. Many of the drugs they use are amphetamines or amphetamine-like compounds, like Ritalin. And so, and the long-term safety of these drugs has not been established. So, a first line therapy for ADHD would be food allergy elimination. Another therapy would be fish oil and other types of protein. And a third thing I would try for adult or childhood ADHD is PS. The last information seems to be that PS helps athletic performance. And I have a colleague who's a specialist in sports medicine, and some of his clients are world class athletes. And he actually has some of them take PS at night to help build up PS in the body. It's thought that PS may help with muscle repair. There are other things that work for muscle repair, so it's not the primary thing I would use for muscle repair. We've talked about the benefits of SAMe, and we've discussed the benefits of PS, which is phosphatidylserine. And so this is my recommendation. If your main concern is brain fog, focusing, ADHD, I would recommend PS. Based upon the clinical evidence and my own experience, I would recommend SAMe if a client has chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, so they primarily have pain or depression, but they also may have brain fog. In that case, I would try SAMe first. And the encouraging thing is the two can be used together. So this concludes today's podcast. Please visit us at getwellfoundation.org. And please be sure to subscribe and let us know what you think about the information we presented today.